But let's turn on the display capture. Um, see, is this the most I can? I could try this, but it might cut off a little bit. But let's scroll down. Number 1. See if this is a good size. Yeah, this is a pretty good size. Should be fine. But this is second key. As far as I know, this is what happened when Bianca went to go get the second key during the last manga last week, London Holiday. Because there was this weird time skip where Bianca described everything that happened. So tired. Oh my gosh. But let's set the music to narrate. I'm gonna set it to loop one song at a time. If I feel the need to change the song, I will change the song. But I feel like this is just a decent song to leave in the background. But we'll see. For some reason, the first chapter doesn't have a cover, but here goes. Second key. And it looks like we're gonna see Sue right away. Another leaf has wilted prior to the demise of our world. May entrusted plans to fight the Honkai to a group of selected pioneers. I was one of them. Maybe I should try using a bit of a Sue voice right now. I don't know what I'd do for Sue. Project Arc. An arc of retained knowledge bearing a copy of the Human Genome Library. The Ark was launched to seek another habitable planet for humanity. And you can see there's 2 arcs, and as far as we know, Griseo and Cosma? Project Ember, an emergency mass backup, evacuation, and revival plan. The responsible pioneers were to pass on knowledge and technology to the surviving humans who would rebuild civilization. As for me, I was placed in charge of Valuka. My task is to perform virtual analysis of other worlds. Each leaf represents a likely alternative universe in the Honkai War. Alas, this universe has lost the war, and like all the other defeated universes, Hirscher of the End, evil Kiana. It has wilted, falling from the tree to become a mere husk of itself. I have kept my vigil for millennia. The leaves that wilted and fell are just as numerous as the sand grains of the Ganja. I've yet to find a leaf that never wilts. Nothing lasts. Countless civilizations eventually fell after brief moments of brilliance. I'm not sure which one is next. I hate when they do this with chat bubbles. But I never raised my head. I would only see that the crown of this tree remained as green and lush as before, while withered leaves fell with the trees. Fresh buds sprout to take their places. Nothing lasts, not even me, yet the leaves are beyond counting. Then fortune smiled at me. I have found the answer. Millennia have passed. I wonder if you found the answers you seek, my friend. Perhaps you remain entwined in the visions of the past. Yes, I was the deceiver who trapped you in the sea of Quanta, and I've chosen to imprison myself in the second key as an act of redemption. Oh, he's literally in the second key. That's interesting. For every 1,000 leaves that fell, I'd walk to the river for a brief glance of you, but having betrayed your trust, I dare not speak a word. It seems the one I've been waiting for is finally coming. Sorry, Kevin. I need to go. Take care, my friend. I'm pretty sure this takes place after Oh no, because this is in the past, right? So this is before Kevin got out. Pixel headquarters. 1 week after acquiring the second Divine Key. Oh, so this is after. This is not during that silliness. Aw, I wanted to see Bianca fight Tiny Kevin. The second Divine Key remains a mystery. A data entry within the solium of this Divine Key did reveal a few things. For the past 4,500 years, this key has been used for analyzing other parallel universes on an imaginary tree. No other solium data entry included nor described these two terms. Just thinking about these two terms got me pretty excited. My wish no longer seems to be a mere fantasy. Oh, so this is when he finally realizes the imaginary tree exists. That's interesting. The second Divine Key is indeed the holy grail of my quest. The two terms it revealed compel me to activate this device right away. It even feels like a trap. No matter, as always, I shall make the necessary preparations for anything that may happen. Oh, is this gonna be... Yep. Bianca training. Amber, notify Durandal that the first test run of the second Divine Key starts in 12 hours. Tell her to ready herself. She will take part in this test. Just Bianca being awesome. Oh, it's Susanna! I'm so glad she's still in the freaking manga. I love Susanna. I have died. You okay? Thanks, Master Trundle. I feel better already. I thought I could get stronger by copying your workout routine, but I guess I got ahead of myself. I couldn't even make it through the first circuit. Oh, you can do it. Push yourself. Please, Master Durandal, can you teach me just how to be as strong as you? Is there any shortcut for training? Is there any special diet? Fine, Susanna. I think I could do the diet part. Oh, Susanna. I love this girl. Why is she not a playable character? I don't care if she's a B rank. She deserves to be in the game. This is lesson number 1. Remember it well. Don't be a copycat. You must discover the thing you're good at and work hard to perfect that very special skill of yours. I'm not even sure if the skill we heard about for her was actually hers, because we found out it was Otto. But I hope she has something, because she does end up using a lot of, like, sensory equipment and stuff in the future. Maybe that sort of thing is her thing. Yeah, geez, Sue looks menacing. It's interesting to see this, too. Makes me wonder if Sue is looking at, like, different versions of Bianca. Okay, I'm not sure if this is the, oops, put my sound thing up. See, what other songs is there that I could do? No, maybe not. No, that one's a little too much. Oh, they're testing the Divine Key. Maybe that is appropriate. Hold on. I'll do... No. We'll do elsewhere for now. As they work on the divine key, we'll see what they figure out, and I'll change the music as I see fit. I won't leave it the same song the whole time this time. Shixel Headquarters Testing Grounds. Energy level is now 80%. Lord Otto. Oh, and she has Abyss Flower. 85%. The Immortal Blades are in position. They look so cool. I wish more of the Immortal Blades were playable with their outfits. Stay vigilant, Valkyrie Durandal. Anything might emerge from the spatial rift. No matter what happens, you must protect the core of the second key. Our first test run of the second key shall begin. And we've seen them do this in the game. It opened the disc thing in the sky. Are we looking at the skies of another world? Why is there only a single star in this sky? There's something odd about this star. Records said that the second key analyzes multiple bubble universes on an imaginary tree. Can this be one of them? And why is there just a single bubble? Oh. Alert! The second key is actively siphoning power. Energy level is now at 150%. The beam is growing in size. Squad, fall back and take position behind the second safety line and keep your eyes closed. Don't look at that thing. Okay, let's make this a little more... Maybe forbidden is a good one now. Something bad's going on. Have no fear, Bianca. The light of Amita is harmless. Let it wash over you. Oh. Master Durandal! Where are you, Master Durandal? Well, Sue just grabbed Bianca. Lord Overseer, we just detected a space-time tremor near the second key. Master Durandal also went missing in action right after said tremor. Damn it, it seems we've fallen into a trap. Reroute power from the other islands at once. We must fire the second key again. Oh my gosh. Oh. Okay, this doesn't appear appropriate anymore. Actually, maybe... You can narrate now. What is this? Have no fear, Bianca. This is your life. Memories of the visual novel. Imagine how confused anyone who hasn't read the visual novel would be seeing this. A most brilliant life, don't you agree? I've analyzed an ineffably ineffable number of universes, but your existence left quite an impression on me. Did I just enter a bubble universe? Yes, Bianca, you're in the bubble universe that I've created in the second key. You may call it the Seed of Sumeru. You actually created a bubble universe. Who are you? I bear no malicious intent, Bianca. I'm what you may call a pioneer. My task is to protect the reviving human civilization of this era, and help you defeat the enemy known as the Honkai. To soothe your fears, I shall demonstrate the powers of the divine key. Oh, that's so cool. Are these all me? Yes and no. The second key can identify the infinite possibilities comprising your totality, Bianca. These are just a small fraction of what may be. Analyze and observe. Unlike the dream bubbles of the Sea of Quanta, these worlds are still alive and breathing. There's one of her and Rita just going to school. Just a random one of her in her battle suit. Her with a gun, like investigating some things. Her as a racer. It's so cool to see all these. Oh, and she has short hair, I think. Oh no, maybe not. It's just tied back. Big poofy ponytail at that. Huh. My mission is to use the second key to analyze the myriad universes within the seed of Sumeru. I'll turn the volume. I was tasked with finding the perfect solution to defeat the Honkai. The solution has now presented itself. You are the very key to this solution, Bianca. If you want to save this world, I'll need you to obey my every word. Well, you aren't giving me plenty of options, Mr. Pioneer. Before you press me into your service, would you mind sharing your perfect solution for beating the Honkai? I do have the intent, but sharing it won't be possible. To converge to the universe where we defeat the Honkai, we will need to pass through 32,874 unique singularities. It is better for you to trust me, Bianca. Oh, that's... For people who don't recognize that on the left, that's Bianca dressed almost in the same outfit as Cecilia. The same outfit Cecilia was in when she did a photo shoot on her honeymoon. And then of course just more of them in school. Earlier it looked like they were maybe in like a middle school. And this looks more like a college or university. Strings of causality are indeed so complex and fragile that they cannot be described in words. It is better for you to trust me, Bianca. Complete the tasks that I'm about to give you, and you shall save this world. You're not very diplomatic, Mr. Pioneer. You said hello to Mumbo Jumbo, but failed to deliver convincing evidence. Do you really expect people to trust you like that? Apologies. Whatever you are, your bubble isn't going to trap me here. I'll be leaving. For your information, this isn't my first time traveling through a bubble like this. Sorry, Bianca, I've already seen this coming. I've also seen your distrust and your attempts to leave. Oh, he has tattoos and stuff on it. They look like they're designed to look similar to henna. That's kind of cool, because I don't remember seeing his hands ever before. Prepare yourself, Bianca. Your sacrifice is needed to save this world. You know, I think this is the first time we've kind of seen a bit of like an asshole side to Sue, and I get it, right? His purpose, his only purpose, is to save the world. And so if he finds the key to save the world and he can't describe it, he's gonna try and force them to do it, right? Like, it makes sense. But it's just interesting seeing someone who used to be so passive basically saying, no, you're doing what I say whether you like it or not. Oh, I didn't even notice his hand was down there. What do you want? You refuse to work with me, Bianca. I am forced to make you stay. I do not enjoy this. But earning your trust is just too difficult. It only happened in very, very few worlds. And thus I prepared something else in case you refuse my offer. This is a double of you, Bianca. She has your entire memories, making her a near exact copy. She only lacks the power you acquired from the Sea of Quanta. I shall extract that power from you. Yeah, a bit of an asshole. I'm sorry, it must be done to save this world. See, this is the type of shit that a lot of the previous era people did, and how they acted. Like, this makes me hate Sue. 100% this makes me hate Sue, that he thinks that he has the right to do it. Like, I understand why he wants to do it, because he believes he's saving the world, but fucking around with someone's life isn't something he has a right to do. Take that. An amazing attack, Bianca. You're strong, I have no doubt about that. Took my punch without flinching. Who the hell is he? Oh. I didn't even see it coming. How did he manage to land his punch? That hit sure feels weight. You're a gifted Valkyrie, Bianca. I'm sorry, but this must be done. Have no fear. I assure you that your sacrifice will save this world. Do you really think the fight is over, Mr. Pioneer? That was just me getting some much-needed warm-up. Time for round 2. Are you game? This is your time, King. He's gonna keep going. You only struggle in vain. I'll return your favor. You are in the circle of karma. Whatever you inflict upon me will only return to you, and it seems that attack of yours is powerful indeed. Thanks for your info, mister. I think I can guess how your tricks work. Very impressive. You actually managed to create 2 phantoms at a time, but you'll need plenty of power to control them. You also used your attack to test my true powers. It seems you're a lot braver and wiser than I imagined you to be. I now know his powers, but so what? Is there a way to beat him at all? It would seem I'm unable to defeat you with my own powers, Bianca. Time for me to call upon the second key. Oh, is he just putting her in various, like, alternate worlds to, kind of test her? Oh, Rita is a basketball player. Oh boy, is that what this is gonna be? Is her fighting through multiple bubble universe? Kind of like chapters 11 and 12, I guess. Interesting. Sue, you are way too detached from humanity. Holy shit. How can you protect humanity when you don't understand it anymore? Why concern yourself with life and death? They are just phases in the unending samsara. Just let go, Bianca. I guess I fell asleep studying these cases. Time to start my day. And I had such a weird dream, killing monsters while wearing some exoskeleton armor. Alright, Bianca, you need to grow out of this. You're not a mecha fangirl anymore. See what it takes for her to snap out of this. Heading out. Take care. Why is she waving to a picture? Is she, like, gone, or...? Aww. Disaster struck Nagazora 5 years ago and wiped out the entire place. My best friend Rita was a high school student in that city when it happened. I never heard from her since. Several years had passed, but no official explanation was given for how and why the disaster happened. And now people all over the world are falling to the Honkai sickness. So this is just what's happening in a different world. Purple stripes would start to appear on the victim's body. Multiple organ failure follows. Hello, Neko. I don't like Sue. I kind of expected not to like him because I know he's from previous era, and I know what the previous era is like. But yeah, I really don't like Sue. We couldn't locate patient 0, nor isolate the pathogen responsible for this. Worse, we also couldn't identify an effective treatment for this disease, which has a 100% mortality rate, despite our best efforts. Hi Annie, I'm here to check on you. How are you doing today? Talk to Bianca. Your blood pressure and temperature both look normal. Show me those stripes. Okay. The stripes did not spread. Dr. Bianca, the other doctors told me that I have the Honkai sickness. They say there's no cure. Am I gonna die? Aw. It's alright, Annie. Your conditions are pretty stable. It's not getting worse. Oh boy, is she gonna be a Hirscher? I'll find a cure for you. Bianca, a minute, please. Is that a female Sue? Oh, it's what? It's Ragna. Hey there, Director Ragna. Our Ward 5 patient is worsening. The stripes have spread to her heart. Acute cardiac failure has set in. Dr. Bianca, huh? Well, she couldn't do it. Damn it. It's been a while, Dr. Bianca. In case you did forget, the name's Paul Long. I'm from Moth. There's a moth in this world. So this is a version of the world that's still like the previous era. They inherited too much from the previous era, I guess. In case you did forget, the name's Paul Long. I'm from Moth. I'm here to pick up the victim. You have the body bag. Yes, the body's ready for pickup. Before I forget, I mailed an application to the Moth. You're finally back, Bianca. Looks like you've had a serious talk with a certain Mr. Long from Moth. Mind if you share what you two talked about? Not at all, Director Ragna. I'll tell you everything about it. I applied to Moth a while back, but it seems I just wasn't good enough. You tried to join that shady club. They spent 5 good years and came up with nothing, not even a treatment plan. Perhaps they never wanted to release their findings on the cure. Perhaps they couldn't do anything about this disease either. I just wanted to give it a shot, no matter how slim the chances may be. I have patients who still believe in me. I won't let them down. Hard work will eventually pay off. That's Bianca. Well, that does sound like something you'd say, Bianca. But this Honkai sickness has 100% CFR? Case fatality rate, okay. I would have told others to give up and get the victims end-of-life care. But you, Bianca, might come up with the miracle we need. And that's precisely why I know you're my best student. You know, looking at Ragna now, Ragna looks a lot like Sue. I wonder if May made a descendant for Sue as well, and if Ragna was from that line. Same hair color, same eye color, similar hairstyles. Just Ragna had a short hairstyle. And I mean, we already know Ragna cared a lot about nature, and she focused on helping raise people. Oh, getting bombed. Ah, hello, Zamaria. Some water. I should probably change this to a more relaxed song, huh? Now that I think about it. Do a simple stretch first. Okay, and let's see if we can crack my back. Ooh, most definitely. As usual, the left side is not cooperating. Now my back feels excited. Let me try this on my bed. That's better. I just think the chair slides around on the floor too much for me to actually properly crack my back. I just lose a lot of that force. But there we go. Good crack. Let's see, what would be a good song to switch this to? This one's like the dorm's theme, right? Why not? Let's do the dorm theme. It's a little too menacing. I don't know about that. There's not very many, like, just neutral songs from Honkai that I have. They're in the visual novels, but I don't have them. No, too happy. This kind of fits the mood of what they're talking about. I mean, you never know, and technically, because of how the Honkai, like, multiverse works, death doesn't need to happen for there to be reincarnation. Because most likely, reincarnation is just the tree. I don't know how many of you remember what was said about the tree. I think it... Is it chapter 15? That was when I started caring about the lore. I can't remember when they started talking about it. It could have been like 16, 17, when we were getting talks between Kevin and Otto. But there was a description of what the tree is and how it works. And as far as I understand, the imaginary tree is taking potential. It's taking futures from the Sea of Quanta and creating worlds with them. So, in theory, a world falling off the tree into the Sea of Quanta would mean once that world breaks down, the tree could just take it back and reuse it, right? And I'm assuming that's why the worlds have so many repeating people, repeating characters, is because literally it's the same things falling into the Sea of Quanta, getting pulled into the tree and getting regrown as a new world. It would explain why Genshin, which a lot of people theorize might just be like on the other side of the tree, totally different future, but has similar characters, just because there's only so many things near the tree in the Sea of Quanta, I would assume. But I would assume you could have reincarnations without death, so long as the character died in one of the bubble universes, or one of the bubble universes they were in fell into the Sea of Quanta and broke down. That's what makes sense to me. And I mean, geez, we knew that there was a female Sue that went evil. Maybe there's a female Sue that was good. You know, this could be a reincarnation of female Sue. But, I don't know. It's crazy, I never thought of her looking like Sue. Maybe because I've never seen Sue's eyes. But it's interesting seeing her now that it's just like, yeah, Ragna really does look like Sue. And that's precisely why I know you're my best student. Do get your beauty sleep. I know you've been staying up all night studying every case of Honkai under the sun. Thanks, Ragna. Vita, I've heard that survivors of Nagazora were taken in by Moth. Vita, could you be one of them? Most likely. Oh boy. Sue messing with her alternate world. There you are, one of her beacons. I need to remove you from this place. Again, I don't like Sue. People could say that, oh, this is just Sue testing Bianca or whatever. But it's too cold, right? Like, he does not care about Bianca, which to me makes me lose all respect for him. Dr. Bianca, you are needed in Ward 18. Annie's condition just got a lot worse. Me. Dr. Bianca, I'm scared. I don't want to die. There's no need to be afraid, Annie. I'm here and I need you to be brave, okay? Vain hopes won't make anyone better, Bianca. There's no way you can save her. Her time has come. Just let her go. Sue, fuck you. No, I refuse to give up on her. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. This manga actually makes me lose respect for Sue. I kinda liked Sue in Elysian Realm, but I'm pretty sure I remember saying that it seemed like Sue had given up in Elysian Realm. Like, he was almost too zen, he was just too silent, he didn't have any opinions or anything. And I'm assuming that's because it was the sim. It seems like the real Sue was, not quite as nice. I wonder if this happened because of him getting switched to Veluca. Because originally Sue was in charge of Project Stigma, and people pulled him off the project, because they believed he was too kind to do it, if I remember right. And I wonder if he became less kind because of that. Like he wanted to prove them wrong sort of thing. Or if just seeing all these worlds kind of wore away at him. Damn it. She was just 10 years old. I was supposed to be a doctor, yet I failed to save anyone in the past 2 years. Time to stop feeling sorry. I need to catch up on my studies. Hopefully there's something worthwhile in the post-mortem from last night. Boop, 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 boop. Ragna. Director Ragna, what is it? Sorry for waking you up from your beauty sleep, Bianca. Oh no, it's fine. I wasn't asleep. This is fucking Sue. 100% this has to be Sue. Still studying the Honkai sickness, I guess. I don't like to nag, Bianca, but your youth won't last forever. Try to get that sleep, you hear? I know you had it hard today, but do listen to my advice for once, okay? Alright, Ragna, I hear you. Thanks for caring. There's one more thing, Bianca. Go ahead, I'm all ears. Ragna, hello? I'm still on the line. Is there something you want to tell me? No, it's alright. I'm just keep working at it. When you feel better, Bianca. Sue infected her. Yeah, that's fair. I'm sure a lot of them are very broken people. It's just really fucking disturbing. And again, I can't remember where it was. I swear it was a puppet, but Somewhere I remember seeing someone say that, oh, maybe the current era is different. That, and I feel like that's part of what it is, right? That, especially if Honkai grows with progress, maybe it's Honkai is fighting off the, like, cold, logical progress, and it wants people to be more caring of each other. Which is ironically true in, I mean, even in real life, right? Was that what it was? I think that might be it. Yeah, I think that's what it was. I can't remember exactly where it was or what the exact wording was, but it sounded like... I remember hearing a line that sounded like it was suggesting the current era was different from the previous era. And it came from like a Hirscher or something. And it does make me wonder if what makes the Honkai stronger is that, like, cold rationalism that humans are oh so good at, even in real life. That, hey, there's a disaster going on, it's every man for themselves, and people start hating each other, and it's so messed up. I feel better already, Ragna. Take care. And I thought you wanted to tell your cute protege to give up studying the Honkai sickness. What changed? And why didn't you tell her? You'll know once you meet the girl in person. She isn't the type who will give up that easily. Now you tell me, Professor, how much time do I have left? 6 hours, Ragna. From what I'm seeing on your arms, Honkai radiation will infect your organ system within 6 hours. Sorry, my old friend. One last wish, Professor, if you're willing to hear me out. Please take care of Bianca for me. Huh? What's going on? This place is now off limits, Dr. Bianca. We, the Moth, have quarantined this hospital to contain the Honkai outbreak. Don't worry, all patients have been transferred to our HQ for further treatment. This is just too unexpected. I'm calling Director Ragna. The number you're calling is not in service. Excuse me. Are you Dr. Bianca? I'm Auto Apocalypse from Moth. Oh god. Wait, did he lose his arm? Huh. That's interesting. Director Ragna is an old friend of mine. I can take you to her. Oh boy. It's weird because she almost saw Otto like a dad, and now she doesn't know him in this world. What? I never knew that Director Ragna has friends in Moth. I guess she never told you about me. Come on in. Let's not keep her waiting. Dr. Bianca, I've heard you've been studying the Honkai sickness on your own. The treatment regimen you developed managed to stall disease progression in a young girl. Quite an impressive feat, I must say. That was not a feat. All I did was delay the sickness. I failed to save her, and that's what really matters. I failed them all. Not one of my 52 patients made it. Jeez, 2 years, 52 patients. That's like someone dying every 2 weeks. Ouch. But we did identify the cause of the disease. Oh wait, there's one over here. You're being too hard on yourself, Bianca. You did amazing things. Moth spent 5 years and we still couldn't find a cure. But we did identify the cause of the disease. Most infectious diseases are caused by a pathogen, usually bacterial or viral. We can limit the spread of these contagions by avoiding contact, or by wearing protective gear such as gloves or masks. There was a time when we believed that the great plagues in our history can be beaten by modern science. But this sickness taught us that we've been blinded by pride and arrogance. The rider of the pale horse rideth still. Humanity and its civilization are still at the mercy of many diseases. Hector Ragna, how did this happen? Cause of death, medical complications of late stage Honkai sickness. Time of death 0400 this morning. The deceased was highly disciplined and fully compliant with strict protection practices, but this confirmed that the pathogen for Honkai sickness was neither bacterial nor viral. We can now identify its etiology, a form of radiation that we've decided to call Honkai. Exposure to Honkai radiation is sufficient to contract the disease. And yes, we're not trying to be original. Yeah? And Director Agna had treated over 500 patients in the last 5 years. Even the latest PPE is incapable of blocking off the Honkai. I'm assuming... oh, personal protective equipment. Okay, like the bubble thing. That's something they use for people who are very, very immunosuppressed. Upon exposure to a lethal dose of this radiation, death will occur in 99.5% of cases. Extreme measures such as excision of irradiated tissue, organ, or limb may save the life of an infected. But I have some good news for you, Dr. Bianca. From this day forth, every Honkai victim will only be treated at Moth facilities. You'll no longer need to deal with them. Will be safe. Mr. Otto, do let me join the Moth. I'll do whatever I can to defeat the Honkai. You just placed me in a very difficult position, Dr. Bianca, yet I have no choice but to turn you down. Your medical expertise is far too limited to help the Moth. We are the Moth who chases the flames, elite defenders of the human world. We have no space for ordinary civilians like you. And this is probably very much what the Moth was like in the previous era, right? They looked down on everyone. They thought they were better than everyone. No one else can do what they can do because they're the Moth. And the fact of the matter is they were probably wrong. And that's probably why they failed in the previous era, is because they had all these high and mighty types that thought they knew everything. And everything just fell apart. Dr. Bianca went home, Professor Otto. But why turn her down? She has the best medical skills of this entire hospital and... Thanks for the obvious. How long? Shut up and keep those opinions to yourself. You're totally right, old friend. Meeting the girl in person is indeed your best argument. She definitely isn't the type who'll give up that easily. Dr. Otto, Professor Otto, didn't you say that you're going to quit drinking? Shut your mouth, Paul. I like Otto more than I like Sue. Like, what the fuck? I genuinely like Otto more than I like Sue. That's so messed up. So this is what she thinks of you. Yeah, she holds Otto in high regard. Because as much as he did what needed to be done, he still cared about people, and he still did his best, unlike frickin' previous era. Oh, it's so messed up realizing just how much more I liked Otto than the previous era. And I'm now worried about the next chapter. We'll see, because I feel like Alicia and maybe even Aponia were kind of standouts of the previous era. That they were people who genuinely tried. I still believe Mobius was very much like Otto. She did messed up things, but she did it with the, like, best of conscience. But, like, Kevin and Sue? Like, what the fuck? 2 months after Director Ragna passed away. There's nothing to worry about. You're recovering pretty well. The Department of Infectious Diseases disbanded the team working on the Honkai sickness. I was transferred to another department instead. Thank you so much, Dr. Bianca. However, I refuse to toss the towel in my war against the Honkai. I studied every case I could find every single night. This looks like it actually says stuff. I wonder what this says. I'm curious. I wonder if someone has ever enhanced this and read this, what it says. Every time we get a patient whose test's positive for Honkai sickness, the moth will come and pick them up. Patient transfer complete, Dr. Bianca. Thank you for your hard work. Who's there? Someone who's curious about how Bianca is doing. You look better already. It feels great not having to deal with Honkai patients, right? Nice to see you again, Otto. I prepped a new sample. I updated the ratios of the active ingredients following your advice. She's still working on a cure. Fine. Wasting my time as usual. I'll take a look at your new formula. No, this ratio won't work at all. What are you scared of? Killing the patient? Yeah, she did what she thought was best for survival. And like we've said before, Mobius only worked on people who volunteered, who gave consent. She jokes about, oh, you might wake up on my table, but she never actually did that, right? She always waited for people who gave consent. I think the only exception was if someone was like a Honkai beast, or if it was a Hirscher, right? Because to them, they're like, you know what, that's not a human anymore. This is the enemy, so we'll experiment on the enemy to find a means to deal with them. But when it came to humans, she was a lot more kind than a lot of people gave her credit for. I'm still curious about Mobius, though, because we already know that apparently Mobius was able to speak from birth. So it's just like, what the hell was Mobius? Why was she so intelligent? It's interesting. "20 points, nothing more. I can't believe you had the audacity to make me read this. How many more reports did I read already? Not 8, 9. Oh, this concoction of yours will never beat the Honkai sickness. This is pathetic. And you spent 6 months to come up with these ineffective mixes. Just give up, Bianca. You don't have what it takes to be a moth." No, I refuse to give up. Every time I closed my eyes, I would see Director Ragna, Annie, and all those patients who have failed to save. I must defeat the Honkai sickness. Why am I even agreeing to this? Fine, I'll email you my review tonight. Please continue to mentor me, Professor Otto. You've had quite a chat with Dr. Bianca. Why don't you just make things easier for everyone and let her join the moth? The girl is far too naive, Paul. We both know that the moth isn't a kindergarten. Her attempts at a cure are still obsessed with the victim's well-being. Of course. To fight the very incarnation of hell and its minions, one must first learn how to become a killer. See, this sounds very much like how Sue is right now. But as far as we know, Mobius genuinely also got kind of angry whenever she failed. Yeah, like, if the person is dying or unconscious or something, I feel like to her, she sees it as they're gonna die or they have a chance to live. And I can understand that, right? That sort of thing happens in real life too. Like, what do? Do you let someone die, or you take a risk without them knowing that could save them? And to me, that's fair. That makes sense, right? Speaking of which, are we getting a sudden spike of victims in the city? I guess it's time to prep the Myrmidons. Ready the soldier. Myrmidons? Is that their version of Valkyries or like, mantises? Please head to the air raid shelters in an orderly fashion. This is weirding me out. An air raid exercise in this day and age? Who's gonna bomb us this time? Is it a Honkai eruption or something? Conspiracy channels on the net said the exact same thing happened in Negazora 5 years ago. Some even claim monster sightings and crazy stuff like that. Negazora monsters? That sounds more like a bad movie. Oh. Run for it! What the hell is that? Wait. There's something about this glowing creature. It felt as though I've seen them before. Don't worry, girl, I've got you. Oh boy. We should be safe here for now. Stripes, it's Honkai sickness. How? Did the monster's unnatural glow cause this? I don't have emergency treatment except this. A redesigned serum based on Professor Otto's feedback. I pray this works. I wonder if she invented the, I can't remember the name of it. Was it HNB 14B, was it? Or something like that? The anti-Honkai serum? I wonder if she ends up inventing it. I pray this works. Damn, the infection pattern just kept spreading. My serum is just another failure. Annie. No, I can't give up like that. Yeah, there's no coincidence that this looks so much like Annie. This has to be Sue messing with her. This ratio won't work at all. What are you scared of? Killing the patient? Yes, I remember what the professor said to me. I have no choice but to raise the dose of the active ingredient. That's it. The stripes are finally receding. He's right all along. Oh. Get lost. I won't let you hurt my patient. My vision's getting blurry. This must be Honkai. Oh, it took me a while to find you, Dr. Bianca. Why aren't you at the shelter? I see that girl's Honkai infection pattern had not spread. Did you manage to pull that off? Finally, something impressive for once. 60 points, Bianca. Good job. Professor Otto, the monster's right behind you. You're always worrying about the wrong things, Bianca. Rita, we need some cleanup over here. Yep. And she's a moth. Oh my god, Rita is Kevin. What the fuck? Rita is this world's Kevin. Rita! Only beings who could keep their self intact could pass the trials of Dharmakaya. Good job, Bianca. You have beaten the test. However, this is only the beginning of our suffering. Yeah, she's literally living out Sue's life. She's being the doctor Sue was, and then Kevin coming back, which was the friend Sue thought he lost. Interesting. It's so weird seeing her as Kevin. Oh, that's funny. Still hate Sue. Don't care what people think. Oh. Bianca, you're going to be alright, Bianca. Oh. Good to see you awake, Dr. Bianca. The professor is waiting for you outside. He'd like you to meet him once you're capable. You look great, Dr. Bianca. That's quite a speedy recovery you had, but I wish I could say the same for this poor little one. Your serum only delayed the inevitable onset of the Honkai sickness. I tried excising the affected tissues and extremities. However, she just wasn't strong enough. She didn't survive the surgery. She died on the operating table. Don't blame yourself. You did well. I'm curious, Professor Otto. I remember contracting the Honkai sickness while running around out there, but I woke up without a single infection pattern on me. It's obvious that you're the one who cured me, but you're also the one who said there's no cure for this disease. Yes, you're right. I lied to you back then. I did create a cure for the Honkai sickness. Then why? Why did you choose surgical excision? You could have just used the cure. Dr. Bianca, please allow me to explain. The cure would have... If you really want to know the reason, then it's because the cure is just too expensive. I chose not to administer the cure to this little one. Why not? Just too expensive. We have no right to place value on her life. You're right, Bianca. That child's life doesn't deserve to be placed on a scale. But the treatment serum should not be valued so lightly as well. Allow me to tell you how we prepare this very special serum. We, the Moth, have spent years trying to unveil the pathology of this sickness. Our efforts did not pay off. Most victims die quickly after being infected, but their bodies would create an almost insignificant amount of antibodies. And since we could not figure out how this pathogen works, the only thing we could do is to start extracting treatment serums from the infected. On average, making a serum for treating a single person requires about 1,000 victims. It's HSNB14B. HSN14B, I mean, or whatever. Oh. Because this is what we were told, right? This was literally how the serum was made. We weren't told it was antibodies, but we were told that in order to produce the serum, they needed like 1,000 victims, and now we know why. It's literally a natural antibody created by the human body, and they're just extracting it and concentrating it. Oh, that's kind of messed up. Like, I get it, especially if you're extracting it from corpses. Like, there's no harm in that. If anything, you're saving one life after 1,000 have fallen, but God. So messed up. Yeah. We also found out that the Honkai may become latent in a small number of people, and such individuals do generate a lot more antibodies than the average victim. Yet they're too few and far between, and the disease will also kill them. Now then, Dr. Bianca, how would you value a treatment like this? What? You should have saved the little girl. Do not doubt my choice, Dr. Bianca. I'm fully convinced that you're the person we need to fight the Honkai. I should tell you that the serum used to save you from a close friend of came from a close friend of yours. Dr. Ragna chose to donate her body to Moth. It was thanks to her that we managed to get enough antibodies to save your life. Ragna is now your guardian angel, Bianca. And this poor little girl will become an angel as well. Her body will be used to create the serum for saving another worthy life. Neither miracle nor wishful thinking will save us from the Honkai. Doctors, nurses, and the bodies of the unfortunate victims form the wall that keep total annihilation at bay. This music has been appropriate for way too long in this manga, and I don't like it. So messed up, everything that's happening. Dr. Bianca, please appreciate the fact that the antibodies flowing in you do not come cheaply. Your shoulders now bear the weight of 1,000 victims and the dying wish of Ragna. There's only one way for you to repay such a gift. Fight the Honkai. Save millions of lives. Some may think my methods are inhumane, unethical, or bleak. But the only thing I care about, the only ethical and right thing for us to do, is to defeat the Honkai, no matter the cost. I'm really glad that, They made Otto basically still Otto. We are fighting a war for the very survival of the human race. It is interesting though, because Otto is so much like Mobius. And then like looks and even like gameplay wise, Mobius is similar to Teresa. And Teresa is supposedly Otto's granddaughter. It's just such an interesting parallel. As much as she's technically a clone of Callan. Makes you wonder what sorts of things Teresa's gonna have to do in the future if she follows in her grandfather's footsteps at all. And I approved that application of yours. Welcome to Moth, Dr. Bianca. I'll do whatever it takes to defeat the Honkai Professor. I have another question about the soldier wielding the great sword. That would be Rita. She is the best soldier of Moth. I've heard that you two were friends, and I figured that you'll be asking about her. I've prepared a dossier of what she's been doing all these years. Treat it as a gift of your invitation. Remember that great Australian inferno 6 months ago? Rita was the one that took care of that. Oh no, that was Kevin killing Himiko. So Sue joined the Moth really late. Sue joined really late after a bunch of Hirschers were already taken out. Of course, spin doctors of our intel division gave a pretty convincing cover-up story. The civilians would feel safer when they believed it was just a seasonal brush fire. Yeah. Yep, there's Himiko. Since you're not a civilian anymore, you need to know the truth. The Great Fire was caused by something we call a Hirscher. Screw censoring it. Oh, right. I haven't told you anything about the Hirscher, right? And I guess it falls apart because she got through that trial of Sue's. Still don't like Sue. Don't care what people say. Don't like Sue. He's literally putting someone through hell and threatening to steal their life if they don't do what he wants, which is just fucked up. The man's a psychic. He could explain a lot faster than a normal human. And she is pretty understanding. Now what? Bianca, we've picked up fluctuations in your brainwaves. Are you alright? Sorry, Professor, I'm doing fine. I was just thinking about the past. You must remember this, Bianca. When you're entering the observation hub, you may lose a degree of control and memories may surface without warning. Final inspection complete, Professor. The system is hot and awaiting your orders. Oh, so they're making this... like, that first part was just a memory. Which, I mean, this whole thing is just a memory. That fire is when Eden joined? That is so suspicious. That's so bloody suspicious. Why does she look like Himiko? I don't think that's ever been explained. Yeah. It's probably Mobius. Because, we know Sue worked with Mobius in the past. So I would assume that Otto is Mobius. Because I don't think May was actually like a normal doctor. I could be wrong, but I don't think she was. She was a survivor of that? I know I read it, I'll have to reread them. But even still, it just seems so suspicious that she looks so much like Himiko. We must find where it's hiding this time. We must find it before it finds a way to breach our cognition cage. So this is again gonna be Bianca doing what Sue did. Probably a specific Hirscher. And it's censored moths this time. That's weird. Hello, Mikiyuki. I'm gonna assume the Hirscher of something. The Hirscher of something appeared shortly after Dr. Bianca joined the moths. It started with a few isolated cases of mysterious sleeping sickness around the world. Oh, is this the Hirscher of Sentience? All victims entered a comatose state while using the internet. Huh. Mobile.twitter? Is that what that says? People lost their minds using Twitter. We failed to wake any of them. We brain scanned the victims and found that they were dreaming. Wave pattern analysis suggests that they might be sharing the same dream. Yeah, and there's May. Chief Scientist Dr. May ordered Research Team 5 under Professor Otto to look into this anomaly. Yeah, so Otto is Mobius. Meanwhile, the moths initiated AI analysis of the victim's browsing history. A number of frequently searched keywords were then identified. The list also changed on a day-to-day basis. But the situation in the real world became desperate. The sleep claimed more and more victims. Figures grew to over 2 million sleepers 30 days after the disease was first reported. Every medical facility was overwhelmed. Many sleepers were unable to receive medical care. A large number of them died quietly in their unending sleep. Yeah, it checks out. There's a reason why I use it for announcements and not much else. Dr. May and Professor Otto then announced their key findings. The sleep was caused by an unconfirmed pattern of Honkai radiation. Why are they starting to censor it now when they've already used the words? And the entity emitting this sleep-inducing radiation was labeled the Hirscher of Sentience. I'm assuming, I don't remember if they had a different name for Senti in the previous era. The Hirscher of Sentience has a mimetic weapon capable of infecting the target keyword. A human reading the infected word would suffer a mimetic infection and fall into an unending dream. This led to the following question: what is the Hirscher of Sentience? Where is it hiding? Can we defeat this thing? And why is it changing its keywords every day? Is it trying to look for something? Yeah, that's the Hirscher of Sentience. We've seen them before. It's interesting too that it's like a young girl and it looks a lot like Fuhua. That it kind of goes along with Senti being like really young. We quickly realized its plans. Honkai Hirscher Moth. While we pursued our search, it was also on the hunt for us. Yeah, but some of those words already came up, right? But I guess that makes sense. I don't know. And the Hirscher of Sentience quickly found the keyword it needed to locate us. It struck quickly. Moth personnel untrained in mimetic defense succumbed to the sleep. Before the situation got worse, Dr. May issued a cognition cage to the surviving members of Professor Otto's team. The cognition cage is best described as a targeted anti-mimetic that induces specified mental blocks. Users will simply ignore the caged keywords, thus saving them from mimetic infection. But the cage does not offer absolute defense. In fact, it becomes weaker as the Hirscher of Sentience adds more words to its list. It will eventually breach our only cage. This is our only chance to strike back. Relax, Bianca. Your brainwaves have finally normalized. But yeah, I mean, if anything, this is an interesting view into Sue's past and things that Sue has done. Still don't. I don't know, we'll see by the end of the manga. This is a longer one, it's 16 chapters, and how far are we? We're on 8th or 9th? But, I don't know. The observation hub will start in 5 minutes. Please repeat the mission objectives for me. Roger, Professor. Repeating my objectives. Once the observation hub starts running, I'll disengage my cage, seek entry into its dream, and locate it. After a period of 10 minutes, the observation hub will proceed to retrieve me from the dream. Good, Bianca. Remember, we have no idea what's in there. Remember these mission details and engrave them both into both your conscious and unconscious minds. There's one more thing. I'm sorry, Bianca. I'll treat you to a drink once you make it back. Don't worry, Professor. It was my choice. I volunteered for this mission. Makes sense. Again, if Otto is playing as Mobius, we know that Mobius didn't force people into anything. That's enough talking for now. It's time to start the test. Hub activated. Disengaging the cognition cages of the 3 psychosensitive mantis units. Oh, she's just literally a mantis. It says here now. Initiating oneric links. Observer 27 is now linked to the dream. I hope we can get rid of it quickly. And this cognition cage is dulling my senses and giving me a daze. I can't even taste my drink. Age is catching up on me. I'm now a silly old fool. I turned my student into a mantis, and then I just threw her into the gates of hell. That hurts to hear, because again, I love Mobius. Mobius puts on that, like, hard front. She's the villain. She chose to be a villain, kind of like how May chose to be a villain. But Mobius cared, and just imagining this from Mobius's perspective, that she turned her student into a mantis, and how she must feel about that. Don't blame yourself, Professor. It's just what the Dr. Bianca said. It was her choice. Every qualified personnel accepted modifications for the purpose of this mission. Well, Paulon, are you trying to say this is our only chance to strike back? Who's Paul Long, I wonder? I wonder who Paul Long is supposed to be of the previous era. Oh. Oh no. He got What have you done, Paul? Your eyes, did it manage to control you? That's right, Professor. I've hid myself in his mind before you forced him to take the drug. Oh boy. Who could it have been? Like, we know Klein became a puppet, but I don't think this is a puppet. This looks like sentient stuff. Oh boy, still has the pill. That pill would have melted in his mouth. Once I destroy this observation hub, none shall stand before me ever again. Oh boy. Is this from Bianca's perspective, I guess? Observation hub is now activated. Disengaging cognition cage, entering target dream world. Whoa, that's kind of crazy. Like an apartment building of dreams? Like people? What is this place? Did the entity make all this? Time here runs 20 times faster than the real world. I have about 200 minutes to find it. Alright, kids. Go tell Mom that it's time for dinner. Wait, I know that voice. That voice came from behind this door. Oh boy. Whoa, thanks, Ted. You made my favorite food. I hope you didn't forget to wash your hands, sweetie. And she's gonna realize that he's asleep once she sees him. How long? He's not supposed to be here. I remembered him having a wife and child. He loved his family, but the Honkai sickness killed them 2 years ago. That room is where poor Uncle Paul can live his dream. It is a place where he can be together with them for the rest of his life. Very innocent, Hirscher. Yeah, that was Legion. That's what I was thinking too. Because we know Klein attacked Mobius, but who else attacked Mobius? Did Mobius have another assistant that attacked her? Really does look like Fuhua, what the heck? A world where everyone lead happy lives and die in a beautiful dream of their own making. Don't you think this is the best way for things to end, Dr. Bianca? Well, I'm glad that you've decided to show yourself. You may be able to keep your face hidden, but as long as our dreams are linked, the observation hub will track you down soon enough. Huh. Oh, and then, sorry, Dr. Bianca, but I'm afraid that you're still one step behind me. The observation hub has just been switched off. The time has come for you to live your dream. Emmett, how do I fight this thing? I'll have to make a dash for it. Oh boy. Hey Bianca, what are you doing out here? Director Ragna. Annie will be discharged today. Didn't you promise to see her off? Anyway, I'm very proud of you, Bianca. You were the one who came up with the cure when everyone thought it was a lost cause. Oh. Can't believe you're still alive, Professor. You're hard to kill. I have your poor aim. I almost did a Mobius voice. I have your poor aim to thank for this. Now move away from the control panel. I really want to see someone redo this comic, but with the previous era characters. I really want to see this whole story from the correct perspectives. And what if I don't, Professor? Aren't you curious about what's going on inside? Your precious underling is still alive and enjoying the happy life that I've created for him. Or will you still choose to murder your most trusted aide? Enough words. This is my answer. I'll kill him without a second thought. Stubborn fool. How about a deal? Before death, I can create a dream that lets you reunite with the people you miss. You must have someone in your heart, Professor. So why die alone in this cold, dark place? See, this part doesn't make sense. This part doesn't make sense because this wouldn't work for Mobius. Maybe Mobius has someone she misses? It wouldn't be her parents because she looked down on her parents. She didn't like them. But, I don't know. Maybe Mobius is someone she looked up to, but we haven't heard anything about them, I don't think. I'd have to read through her notes again. Welcome to my dream world. Otto! My goodness, did you just zone out again? You stop thinking about your job for a while. You promised to hang out with me after you got off work today. I just felt a little dizzy. It felt as though I was having a strange dream and none of this is real. Oh, you're just tired. Your job is important, but you shouldn't be overworking yourself. I'm always here for you. Don't forget that, Otto. Yes, I guess you're right. Hey, Mr. Paul Long, can you stop hiding now? Yes, Professor, is there anything you need? Oh, Paul's here as well. Of course, he's part of my personal security detail. I'm giving you a break. Go home and spend time with your wife and kid. Look, Paul, the weather's great today. That's against the rules, Professor. It's not safe. Don't worry, I can take care of myself. I'll just borrow your gun for a while. How did you... yeah. If anyone tried this on Mobius, Mobius is just gonna shoot everyone. She knows it's a friggin' dream. She doesn't care. Otto, are you mad? You just shot... Why did you... Yeah. Then he's just gonna keep waking up in different dreams. It was a terrible dream. I saw you there, then pulled out a gun and shot you. Oh, right. Oh, you have those bad... It must be all that stress from work. They're pushing you too hard. Oh my gosh. Kiana's their kid? Wait, what? I mean, especially when it comes to like K423, that's not entirely wrong, but that's kind of funny. What happened, Daddy? Are you okay? Daddy's alright, girl. Sorry for waking you. It's really late, baby. You need to go back to sleep. Okay, Mommy. Good night. Oh, that was supposed to be Alan, whatever. Have some milk, Otto. It'll help you relax. You worked hard on that Honkai sickness for years. They hardly gave you a break. Now's the time to sit back and rest. Oh, I did that in the wrong order. God, I hate these bubbles sometimes. Like, it makes sense for Otto. It doesn't make sense for Stay. Yeah. But you did it, Otto. You found the cure. Now's the time to sit back and rest. The Honkai sickness. Wait, I just remembered something. Both you and our baby had that disease. Oh dear, Otto. All those times spent working on those dreadful diseases, victims made you unhealthy. That's why you're seeing and imagining terrible things. But you won't have to worry about us. We're both alive and well. We will always be here for you, dear. It's just too perfect. In fact, it's so perfect that I actually want to stay. Enough with your silly nonsense, Otto. This is your home, and you're free to stay as long as you want. But you're not her. Makes you wonder if Mobius had someone special, someone she cared about. Because we know that Mobius was actually a lot older than she looks. As far as we know, when she was working with Moth, she was basically like an old lady. Like, she was like maybe getting into her like 50s. 50s, maybe 60, who knows? But we're pretty sure she was quite old. She just aged backwards because of her weird quirks. But it makes you wonder. And I didn't want to let go of them when they left me. If not for Dr. May, who amputated my infected arm, I would have been united with them in death. I wonder if this actually happened to Mobius, and Mobius regrew her arm after she became a mantis. I failed them. I didn't come up with the cure when they contracted the Honkai illness. Why? Why do you refuse to accept this dream? This is the only place where you can be together with those you love. And that's where you're wrong. It would be a betrayal if I were to give in to this vile falsehood. The only thing that has kept me alive is my desire for vengeance against you, Honkai. I've been dreaming for far too long. It's time to end this. Damn you. Finally freed myself from that cursed dream. Not much time left. The observation hub, I must switch it back on. Hang in there, Bianca. Is she gonna do it? I'm so proud of you, Bianca. Your cure saved Annie's life. I need to go. Director Ragna. What? Why? Bianca, stop. Where are you going? There's still a lot of patients who need your help. Director Ragna, she's dead. Thank you for letting me see her again and share a few words with her, but I know from the bottom of my heart that she isn't real. Now you're scaring me with all your crazy talk, Bianca. Look, I'm standing right here. I'm still alive and well. Bianca, why? They used Director Ragna's body to make the serum that saved my life. It's a painful truth that I must accept, for this pain is the thing that kept me going. I wonder who Ragna was. I wonder who the doctor that sacrificed themselves for Sue was. Goodbye, Director Ragna. Observer 27 has awoken. We have located the target. Good job, Bianca. This old man has to apologize to you. I promised to treat you to a drink. I'm afraid I can't do that anymore. Karmic cycle is the ultimate system of fairness. One must accept this cycle in order to leave the past behind. Not really. Yeah, because of her regression, we don't know how old she actually was. We don't know how long she was that young, too, right? And we don't know how long happened between, like, how much time was between each of the Hirschers, really. We know the last few Hirschers were all really close together, but... yeah. You did it, Bianca. You passed the trials of Sambhogakaya, the body of mutual bliss. These trials allowed me to reveal more and more of your mind. I now know the justice you believe in and the people whom you hold close to your heart. There is one final trial, and in the final trials of Nirmanakaya, body manifested, I shall brand crucial knowledge for saving our world, the deepest recesses of the mind. You have done very well so far. I pray you won't disappoint, Bianca. Now what? I'm assuming this is continuing from that? Probably another one of the Hirschers? So whoever it was died, it seems like. Well, we know Mobius didn't die, and we know Kevin didn't die, so is this just a really twisted version of history? Who was it that had a flask in the game? Was it Sue? Who was it? Maybe there was another doctor that worked alongside Mobius and them that made mantises, and we just don't know them very well. Drinking isn't very good for you. Thanks to the data you collected, Dr. May will soon corner the 8th Hirscher. Nita, I'm sorry about Professor Otto. It's not just him, almost every researcher in this lab has been killed. By the way, Bianca, you have an invitation from Dr. May. Yeah, it looks like she's going through a lot of Sue's experiences. It could be that the characters aren't consistent, that the Otto in that last one that died isn't the same Otto from earlier, but who knows. She hopes you can be transferred to our HQ and take part in Project Stigma. Project Stigma? And this was, again, that was supposed to be Sue's project, but then people decided it wasn't suitable for Sue, so they changed it to Kevin. Okay. Miss Bianca, you will learn about the truth of Project Stigma in the final trial. It all started on that day. Ooh! I don't know that much about Project Stigma. I have guesses, but we'll see if this is actually revelations or not. The final battle against the Honkai was fought on the moon. To fight the final Hirscher, humanity of the previous era sent 8 of its last and most powerful warriors. So 8 people survived to the previous era. There's Kevin. There's... Ooh, one sec. I need to open this in a new tab. And... Control, zoom in. Fuhua, Sue, Kevin is obvious. That to the right looks like Eden. Who's the person with the purple? Dang it, they're too blurry. I can't make out who they are. This both looks like Eden, and it almost looks like it could be like an adult Mobius, but we know Mobius wasn't an adult at that point. This looks like a guy. Looks like a young guy, but I don't think Cosma made it to the moon, did he? Yeah, we know 8 fought. We know Sakura didn't make it. Who else didn't make it? I'm trying to think of ones that... Alicia shouldn't be there. Because the final was 14th. So Alicia shouldn't be there. Is there any others that we know for sure couldn't be there? I'm not sure. I'm not sure I know who else could or couldn't have been there. We know Eden was there. I'm pretty sure Mobius was there. Pretty sure Aponia was there. Because there were scenes between those 3 on the moon. Cosma and Griseo, as far as we know, we haven't seen any of them on the moon. And one of Griseo's paintings for Cosma was Cosma looking up at the moon with a broken spaceship in front of him, so we can assume that he never made it to the moon. But we also know they were very likely too involved in Project Arc. So that's 3 of them, so there's 2 others that didn't make it. Who was the other one that died before, or are you referring to Alicia? Because, yeah, Alicia and Sakura we know can't be there. Vil V, when we read the ending of Vil V's, it almost sounded like Vil V was on Earth. So it's possible Vil V didn't make it to the moon. No, Vil V had to have made it to the moon, because she's the one that made the cryopods. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think the silhouettes are going to be perfectly accurate. Well, quote-unquote died. We don't know that 100%. We have to wait till the next chapter, right? We don't know if it's actually Alicia, or if it's just the core, or what's going on. But she quote-unquote died. She is no longer human, she's no longer a moth, most likely. Yeah, I'm not sure who this purple glowy person is. Because I would have thought Fuhua, but it's not Fuhua. And the only other person I can think of in the moth that had... Actually, wait. That looks like a child. That almost looks like it could be like Griseo. I don't know. I don't know. Let's go back to the manga. Let's stop staring at that one picture. Maybe it'll say something about it. No. And then use the Selene to deplete her Honkai reserves. So, and it's funny because that's almost the same pose when they hit Hirscher of the Void with it. Similar idea. That's supposed to be in the background. The hair makes me think Sue, but it's a woman. The battle was humanity's final gambit for survival, but it ended as soon as it began. The warriors' attacks failed to inflict any significant damage. 2 of them lay dead 5 minutes after the battle was joined. So 2 of them died against the Hirscher of the End very quickly. We know it wasn't Eden, because Eden chose not to go into the cryopod. Same thing with Mobius. We know it wasn't Mobius, because as far as... We don't know what Mobius did, but... We know Mobius was there. I'm gonna have to go through them all. It could have been Vilvi. Vilvi could have been there and died. It's hard to say. Yeah. Those are the easy ones. But Celine also failed to live up to humanity's expectations. In a last-ditch effort, Dr. May supercharged the weapon and fired it. Yet the attack only took about 30% of the Hirscher's powers. And that shot turned Celine into a burning wreck. Oof. Humanity lost its only weapon to combat the Honkai. The mantis named Kevin spent all his strength to deal a mighty blow that temporarily immobilized the great enemy. The Celine is lost. The final Hirscher will regain its ability to move in 10 hours. We've re-established contact with the lunar expedition, confirming the list of survivors. Oh, and now they're having Bianca and Sue there? That's kinda weird. Is Bianca supposed to be Dr. May? No, because there's still a Dr. May. Oh, why can we let it end like this? The human race is going extinct. Oh, Alice. Huh. Looks like Bianca. It's alright, Alice. Don't give up. This isn't the end of us. This mission isn't over, people. The final Hirscher will only start moving towards Earth in 10 hours. That's the time we have for initiating Project Sanctuary. Start moving our shelters underground to hide them from the Hirscher's eyes. This is only a setback. We will not fall today. One day we shall return to the surface, and that will be the day when we defeat the Honkai. Yes, Director. Good news, Director. The lunar expedition just sent us the list of confirmed survivors. Captain Kevin is among them. He'll be returning to Earth in 8 hours. Well, that'll take a while. I'm so happy that your best friend made it. Huh? Where did he go? I'm kind of sad we only see one of them. I'm assuming this is supposed to be like a list of names up here, but we don't get to see it. Might have been on the Celine, that might be what it was. But who knows? Because technically the Celine was just the weapon, right? So it could be also that she wasn't, it was remotely controlled, but... I do still remember that there was that one written story of her getting defeated. It felt like at the end of her notes. I must tell her the good news myself. May, Kevin's still alive. You'll get to see him again once he gets back to Earth. Good. He kept himself alive, but I'm afraid I won't be here to see him again. Because of her using the blank key. May, those infection pattern, it's the disease. I'm dying. My eyes are already failing me. I can't even see your face. Don't blame yourself, Sue. Your medication is the only thing that kept me alive till this very moment. There are 2 letters on the desk. One's for Kevin, the other is for you. Sorry, Kevin. I told you that I was getting better, but I lied. We'll be reunited once you come back from the moon, but now he'll be all alone for thousands of years. All alone in the desolate world. Promise me this, Sue. You must always stay by his side and make sure he doesn't stray from the right path. Yeah, we saw bits of this part. Don't worry, May. Kevin is a friend of mine as well. I promise to always look out for him. May? Dr. May's body was corrupted by Honkai radiation during the war. She kept herself alive with medication, but passed away before she could be reunited with Kevin. 8 hours later, the lunar expedition returned to the base. Oh! Was it? I wonder if it was Kevin who got controlled by the Hirscher of Sentience and shot whoever it was. Because that's the same outfit. If it was just different versions of Kevin throughout the story, that would explain why Rita didn't show up during that part. Dr. May left him a letter and a test tube baby made with Kevin and May's genetic materials. And he'll be called Adam, the name of the first man. I'm sorry, Kevin. I failed to cure May's sickness. Enough, Sue. It wasn't your fault. We need to head to the shelters. The final Hirscher will be arriving soon. We have no time for regrets. This will not be the end of our war against the Honkai. We will defeat the enemy, no matter the cost. Kevin, I have to go, May. Don't worry, I'll stay by Kevin's side, and I'll make sure he doesn't stray from the right path. Also, I just realized a mistake in what I said. I said that was obviously Kevin beside... or obviously Sue beside Kevin. But that doesn't make sense, because Kevin was on Earth. So that's not Sue. They're holding something glowing green. I'm even more confused now. And I'll be sure to make sure he doesn't stray from the right path. You placed me in charge of Project Regular later. I pray I'll never have to use it. Before the final Hirscher arrived at Earth, the human survivors fled to deep underground shelters and entered their cryogenic pods. Oh, the pods were on Earth. I thought the pods were on the moon. They made it sound like everyone fled to the moon, but no. The moon was just a secret base. They came back to Earth and hid underground. Thus began the long sleep that would last 50,000 years. And we know that the cryopods were a divine key. The weapon divine key was turned into those cryopods. Help! I don't want to die. Oh. Britannia, late 5th century. So this is 1,000 years before Otto? Huh? It's alright, lad. You're safe and sound. Oh, watch out! It's right behind us! There's nothing to fear from this beast. So that's when they woke up. They woke up 1,000 years before Otto's time. At least they did. I don't know when Fuhua woke up. She might have woken up even earlier. Sue, I've dealt with the Honkai in this area. It's time to go. Sir, you saved our lives. Our village is up ahead. Please visit us if you don't mind. We must thank you for... He just jumped into the sky. He must be the legendary mage. The Archdruid of this land. Oh yeah, Kevin was known as Merlin, right? Kevin was referred to as Merlin as far as we know. Wait, that good lady disappeared as well. She was just here a while ago. Good lady? Thought Sue was a girl. Lady, my good lady. Yep, thought Sue was a girl. She must be the Lady of the Lake. Oh my god. So Kevin was Merlin, Sue was the Lady of the Lake, and together they made up the story of Excalibur. Oh my god, that's so funny. That's so great. Shelter number 907, bottom of the Tmesis, later known as the Thames. Who else is there? Is that Fuhua? Yep. Oh, so Fuhua over time was still communicating with them. That's interesting. It's been a while, Sue. And it's good to see you again, Hua. 10 years have passed since we last met. Hua, Sue and I read the progress report of Project Ember. Then you should know there is no contingency worthy of note. Ever since we enacted the plan and stopped offering knowledge from our era to the people of this time, we've no longer cited any additional resurgence of Emperor-class Honkai beasts. Done well, Hua. Sue, are we getting anything from the Ark? No. According to our schedule, the Ark should have left the solar system at least 1,000 years before this. Delays would naturally become longer. We expected to receive our call from them 5 to 15 years ago, but we didn't receive anything from the Ark, and to this day. What happened to the Ark? Well, Arks, but you know. Because again, it's always been shown as 2. Always 2. Our chances of re-establishing contact with the Ark may be very slim. Our other projects have failed as well. And there are only 3 of us left. Ah, there's only 3 of them? Which makes you wonder what happened to everyone else. Because we know that there was at least 6 left. Oh. Oh. That kind of answers it, doesn't it? Shit. There was 6 of them left. We know that, or I guess there would have been 7 of them left, because Sue wasn't there on the moon. But we know that Eden and Mobius chose not to go to the future. At least, that's what we've been told. Bill V, as far as we know, was defeated. Sheesh. I hope we get more explanations of this stuff in the next chapter. Project Stigma, Bianca, Ember. If we fail, then the people of this era will be annihilated by the Honkai. I'll be heading back to carry out a mission. See you in 10 years. Take care, my dear brothers. And I'll head back to the second key to carry out Project Bianca. Wait, Sue. I believe the time has come to activate Project Stigma. Activate Project Stigma, now. Stigma is our last resort. Even if it worked, humanity would still have to pay a terrible price. According to May's plan, we can only start Stigma when all other projects. Project Ember is done. We tried teaching humanity of this era what we knew to hasten the growth of civilization. That simply gave rise to the Honkai. Even powerful Judgment class monsters surfaced. Oh, I think that was supposed to be first, but who knows. All other projects have indeed failed. You know what the monster Chio did. Bushi and Nua gave their lives to stop that thing. Any attempt to hasten progress will also spark off Honkai events. They're learning that Honkai comes with progress. What of Veluca? Tell me what you observed in the last 50,000 years. Have you found anything useful? Even if we get an exponential growth in the number of observable universes, we only have 1,500 years before the final Hirscher returns. Can you give us the answer we need, or we run out of time? The risk grows greater for every moment we delay Project Stigma. Oh, Kevin. You'll know why I've made this choice soon enough, and I will need your help. Come find me once you've figured things out. But I've always known you. For thousands of years after you woke and returned to the surface, we've always acted together as one. I promised May to stay at your side. We've traveled the lands and saw the rebirth of a new human civilization. Why did you make that choice, Kevin? You know very well that Stigma will destroy humanity's future. Your plan is now in effect, May. Kevin strays from the right path. I will stop him. Yeah? Something tells me this is a lot of the stuff I've wanted to know. I've heard little bits and pieces of, but how many chapters are left anyway? Like 3 more, I think? 3 or 4 more? Oh. Someone turned into a zombie. Oh, this kid had a stigma. No, help, get away from me. Oh. It's alright, you're safe now. You're the Lady of the Lake, oh my gosh, poor Sue. Please help us, it happened so quickly. Everyone in the village started going crazy. The pain. Oh, is this gonna be our young new king? Is this our king who's gonna get the holy sword? It's the stigma. Your body is yet to adapt to its powers. Fear not, lad. You'll be fine once you wake from this sleep. Why are you here, Sue? You should be working on Project Veluca. I need to talk to you, Kevin. Everyone in the village of Burton near this shelter turned into Honkai zombies. I also found Honkai emitting crystals in that place. Water samples collected from the village, well, also contain SIP 630. Oh boy. Yep, he's doing messed up stuff. Yes, Sue, that village was one of my test sites. To perform my project, I must genetically modify people of this era to give them natural stigma. But May and I estimated that only a few could survive such modifications and control the power of stigma. Those who can't will zombify. Less than one in 1,000 of test subjects on this island reached stage 1 of stigma awakening, and every single one of them displayed symptoms of stigma rejection. I need your help to solve this problem and move subjects to stage 2. Kevin, did you just say you applied SIP 630 to this entire island? It was necessary. We need to acquire accurate results. This island is also the perfect site for testing since there's no need to worry about containment breach. What island are they on, I wonder? By the way, I didn't have time to check the results of the village of Burton. You mentioned that you were there. Did you find any successful cases of awakening? The awakened ones are crucial subjects for this project. No, that village had less than 100 residents. Everyone turned into zombies. Let's focus on the good news for once. I've managed to find an interesting parallel universe. I believe it offers valuable references for us. You should take a look. Very well. Head back to the second key, Sue. I'll meet you there once I'm done organizing the data. He doesn't care. This is Sue deciding that Kevin can't be trusted. I'm here, Sue. Where are you? This place. It feels like a bubble universe. You're right, Kevin. This is the seed of Sumeru, a bubble universe I've created using the second key. This place is isolated from the rest of existence. You'll need my help to leave this place. Kevin, I brought you here because we need to talk. I hereby beg you to delay Project Stigma. We both know, even if the project succeeds, humanity must pay a steep price. Only a very small number of people would survive. I know that, Sue. Stigma is the worst project we have, and I also know that you're against Project Stigma. Your consciousness weeps when innocent people die, and that's why you created this trap, an elaborate plan of deception to stop me, to stop Project Stigma, so I agreed to come and see it for myself. The judgment of Shamash, it broke through the seed, giving you a chance to stop me with everything you've got. When you fail, you will realize that you can't change anything. Even if a single one out of 1,000 or even 10,000 survive Stigma, such outcomes are far better than inaction and praying for a miracle. Kevin is way too impatient. He's way too impatient. As for the sins of killing those who have died and those who have doomed to die, I alone shall bear a yoke upon my shoulders. Not true, everyone that knows will have to bear that weight. You don't get to choose who bears that weight, Kevin. All the survivors will have to bear it. And do you have a right to give them that weight? I know I'm completely outmatched, Kevin, but like you said, I'll do my best. I have several divine keys capable of wounding you. This flower and the Star of Eden. Oh my gosh, he's using all his friends' tools. I'm sorry, Kevin. I'll do whatever it takes to stop you. We already read that. I'm not going to reread it. Oh boy, he's going to do a little bit of everything. Heart of Eden, zeroth power. Oh, hey, they do the anime character thing too. They shout out the name of the power. Okay, I'm sorry, that's not how black holes work. You can't cut a black hole, Kevin. That's not physics. And then the Abyss Flower. Kevin activated his metamorph Ichor and healed all his wounds. And as far as we know, the Ichor shouldn't be able to stop the Abyss Flower. Like, I feel like they made Kevin too OP just to make him badass, but like, I feel like what he's doing right now is literally impossible in the physics of the world this is in. Everything he's doing right now should be impossible. The battle turned out to be worse than I expected, but we're still in the seat of Sumeru. I still have a fighting chance. It shall warp the space-time fabric itself. Don't say your plan. I knew I was no match for Kevin, but I didn't expect to be defeated so quickly. It's over, Sue. It's time to stop this. I know you oppose Project Stigma, its methods and its very nature. But it is the only way. You can't convince me otherwise, and I will continue this project even if my hands are drowned in blood. This grave sin shall be mine alone. And I will still beg you to stop, Kevin. We don't have the right to play God and decide the fate of this era. Our civilization is already destroyed in that distant past. Even if Project Stigma worked, the survivors would just become another human species. A species that is not the extension of human civilization, but an undead walking corpse of a once defeated time. Are you saying that we should do nothing while history repeats itself, and let Honkai destroy this era as well? And why should we pioneers even exist at all? We pioneers should be working together with them as equals, and find a way to defeat the Honkai. We are not supposed to decide their fate like gods. That's really fucking rich coming from Sue. That is really, really, really fucking rich with how he acted with Bianca. The humans of this era have the right to decide their own fate. Spreading Honkai evenly across the entire global population to stop the emergence of the final Hirscher will kill those with no Honkai resistance. Millions will perish. This price is too much for us to bear. I don't need to concern myself with that dilemma. I've already found the answer 50,000 years ago. Humanity must defeat the Honkai, no matter the cost. I wonder if this is Eponia's fault. If his discipline is clouding his judgment and forcing him to act this way. That he was basically just shaped into the perfect weapon and he can't bear to think of a peaceful alternative. He just wants war. He wants to destroy Honkai no matter what. I'm sorry, Kevin. I've also decided to stop your madness, no matter the cost. Project Regulator, designed to stop Kevin in case he strays from the right path, May entrusted me with the power to determine if Kevin is within control. She also gave me the means to stop the most powerful human in the world. Second Divine Key, First Power. Inverted Horizon. Kevin, from the very moment you stepped into the seat of Sumeru, I've activated the first power of the key. The world bubble we're in will keep sinking till it reaches the bottom of the Sea of Quanta. We're both trapped here. We'll never return to the real world. Yeah, she did say she regretted it, because there was definitely people who would have been confused. And I mean, I already guessed that Kevin's was why the Caslanas were the way they were, but I didn't realize just how badly it affected Kevin himself. You're mistaken, Sue. I sense the portal to the Sea of Quanta has not fully opened. If I destroy the core of the second key before that happens, your plan will fail. You will not prevail this time, Kevin. I just need a little more time for the portal to open. I'll gladly offer my life to stop him. Kevin, you froze the judgment of Shamash. He stopped it. He couldn't bring himself to kill Sue. Kevin, why? Our fight is over. Both of us will be trapped in the Sea of Quanta. It's interesting though, because I think this is the first time I've seen, I don't know about other people, that Kevin is using his partially awakened mantis form. It's really similar to Ziggy's. I guess probably all Caslanas. Except for Doodoo. Kevin. Leave this place, Sue. Carry on with your mission. Project Veluca must continue. Kevin. It was at that fleeting moment that I glimpsed the familiar face of my very best friend. Kevin fought his discipline, I guess, at the end. Yeah, and he has the same horn over his left eye. That's so similar, huh? Was I seeing things? Perhaps he never left. And I failed to notice that he was always right there. When I finally awoke, the seat of Sumeru had sunk to the bottom of the Sea of Quanta. The only thing I could do was carry out his final command. To carry on with my mission. Oh god, that's true, he really hasn't moved, because they said that their hidden base was at the bottom of the river. The same river they found the second key floating above. Huh. I must find a way to defeat the Honkai within 1500 years. Oh. And he creates Europe. Oh, that's so crazy. So Kevin wasn't Merlin, or maybe Kevin was, who knows. But... oh, maybe it was Kevin's descendant. And then Sue is the one that brings Arthur and trains him to become a king. Come, Arthur, I will teach you to use your stigma. You will use your powers to protect the people of this land. Humanity shall decide its own fate. Having done that, I once again entered the second key and continued to observe this as ordained by Project Feluca. This is my act of redemption. And that's how my story went, Miss Bianca. The time has come for you to face this trial. Oh, she has to fight Rita as Kevin. Ooh, I have not seen screenshots of this, and I am glad I haven't been spoiled. Now he's getting her to live out that last part. Sue will redeem himself depending what he says at the end, but if he says something that I think he's gonna say, he's still lost my respect. Oh dear Rita, I've promised to always stay by your side. It's interesting seeing it in both their perspective though. Since you woke, we've always acted as one for thousands of years. We've traveled the lands and saw the rebirth of a new human civilization. You knew very well that Project Stigma will destroy the future. If you stray from the right path, I will have no choice but to stop you. It's over, Bianca. It's time to stop this. I know you oppose Project Stigma, its methods, and its very nature, but it is the only way. You can't convince me otherwise. I will continue this project even if my hands are drowned in blood. I'm sorry I kind of kept it on the same song the whole time again, but this song kind of just works for the weirdness of these chapters. This grave sin shall be mine alone. This is the final trial, Bianca. You must save the world from your very best friend. The choice will be painful. The time has come to activate the second key and seal her away. Let me ask you one last question, Rita. Will you regret your choice, even if the cost may be too great to bear? No, I will not regret this choice. We must defeat the Honkai, no matter the cost. Then the time has come for me to make my own choice, Rita. I shall support you, no matter the cost. My only wish is to stand with you. I will not let you bear this grave sin on your own. What? Wait, Bianca, why are you doing this? Rita, it's true that I oppose the very idea of Project Stigma, but never before have I seen you in greater pain. Never. You are overreacting, Bianca. This decision will decide the fate of humanity. You should calm down and think things through. Oh, that's such a Bianca thing with her. I think Sue underestimated how much these two cared about each other. You will never be alone. Together we shall take on this burden. Doesn't feel right. She did pass the first two trials. She should be aware of the terrible cost of Project Stigma. Fuck you, Sue. You fucking deserve that. I finally found your weakness. I'm very impressed with your mental attacks. Despite having special training with my overseer, I couldn't help but fall for the false fantasy you have built. Hello, Bianca. But you lost your footing in the third dream that gave me an opening I needed to wake myself. That Kevin must be someone important to you. Yes, he's my very best friend, and I assume you have decided to stop the fight. You showed me your thoughts with those dreams. I'm pretty sure we're not enemies. That hit was just payback for forcing me to take part in your trials. You can say that I deserved a knee in the chest. I'll apologize for my actions, but I do believe that the trial was a must. I also remember saying you saying something during the third trial. The humans of this era have the right to decide their own fate. From what I can tell, you're trying to tell me that we're no better than puppets if we simply repeat the past. Right and wrong, good and evil. We're not in any position to enforce a particular definition of those concepts. Even if a godlike being does exist and laid down some special plan, I'll just treat that plan as an advice and figure things out on my own. I believe that would be our duty as human beings. Simply put, your life is just filled with too many rules, Mr. Pioneer. I suppose you have a point. You do astonish me, Miss Bianca. I once believed you shared a similar nature to my past self. I now realize that you're blessed with a more carefree spirit. And then there are the differences between us. Our era did not enjoy the luxury of choices, but your era does. We told ourselves that you will have the right to decide your own fate, yet we also felt obliged to enforce our beliefs upon your problems. Perhaps we have lost our vision in the long wait. Yeah, no fucking kidding. Perhaps it was I who needed to go through the trial. Uh-huh. Truly, you are the only one whom I could entrust the second key to. But before that happens, allow me to give you another gift. I want him to talk about that puppet, because he made that duplicate of Bianca. If he was 100% honest on what he planned to do, Sue has lost all respect for me. I don't care if she knocked some sense into him and he smartened up in the end. If he honestly was planning to do that, lost my respect. The end game. I'm assuming this is the last one. Pixel HQ. Stay vigilant. No, and I mean, yeah, she has the way to come back, so. Oh. Master Turandal. I'm alright, Rita. Turandal, you spent a total of 65 minutes in that bubble universe, enough time for some structural analysis. Give me another 60 minutes and I'd have found a way to get you out of there. I'm glad that you're alright. Rita was quite worried about your temporary absence. Thank you, Lord Otto. You also came out with a battlesuit that I've never seen before. Bianca's seen it before, hasn't she? Or is that from or did Seed of Sumeru help her stabilize it? Oh no, this was after, wasn't it? So it was from Seed of Sumeru stabilizing the harness. Okay, I get it. Miss Bianca, the bubble universe within you remains unstable. The Seed of Sumeru will improve your control over that bubble. Treat it as payment for making you take my trials. You can now tap into the powers of your bubble and leave this place. Oh, is this why Bianca was able to go back at the end of the visual novel? Was it after she received the Seed of Sumeru that she was able to go visit the people in her bubble because she gained control over it? That would make sense. You're giving me your Seed of Sumeru, but what would happen to you after that? I will sink with this bubble into the sea of Quanta. My duty has ended. It is time for me to leave. I've found the only solution for Project Veluca. The people of this era have gained wisdom to choose their own path, the courage to start their own journey, and the power to see it through. To watch more of these worlds, I've sped up the process of observation and forced myself far beyond my own physical limits. I've done all that I could, but I was running out of time. You appeared at just the right moment. This leaf is a record of important parallel worlds. Take it to your overseer. It will help you in your war against the Honkai. I shall make sure this leaf is delivered to him. And good, and this is where we bid each other farewell. And this is the leaf the pioneer gave me. Leaf? What is this? As God said, the answer you seek lies on the other side of the tree. To reach that place, you must find the second key in its intact form. Oh! Master Durandal, look. That lonely star, it's the lone star within the other space revealed by the second key is gone. Then hundreds of stars appeared, and thousands more began to give off their light. And then there were tens of thousands of stars in this vast other space. Finally, there were infinite possibilities in this galaxy of parallel universes. Miss Bianca seems to have delivered my message. Otto has guessed the answer. I only needed to point out the way for him. People treated Otto as a schemer, yet Bianca views him with a positive light. The trials revealed the deep bond they shared. Perhaps we also share a similar bond, my friend. This will be my last look at you. We'll let the people of this era do their best. People like us and Otto are just trials in this game. This bubble will soon disappear, yet this is the only leaf I wish to keep till the very end. Aw, he found an alternate world where the two of them were just normal students. Aw, this is it, old friend. I guess I'll look for the answer to that question in the afterlife, if that even exists at all. It's time. Oh, and if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. An infinity of possibilities ebbs and flows within the great yawning gap far beyond your sights. An existence beyond human understanding. This place, it does exist. Oh? I applaud you for finding this place, enlightened one. You seek the universal truth that governs even the Honkai itself. I haven't met a human for aeons, and I am very, very bored. Is that someone else in the reflection? Or is that Sue? It might be because of all these like swirls and stuff over it. It almost looks like a different outfit, but I could be wrong. Let us first entertain ourselves with a human game. Win this round and I will give you the answer. They're playing Go. Oh my god. So Sue meets... It's hard to tell if this is the will of the Honkai, because the will of the Honkai, as far as we know, has never spoken. It wasn't able to speak to someone. So this may be a separate entity altogether. Maybe a god, maybe another higher being like the will of the Honkai? Full Hirscher? It's Interesting. But yeah, that could mean... It could mean, like, a full Hirscher, because he did need Kiana's help when Kiana had the powers of Void in order to properly use the key. The key itself wasn't enough. But yeah, a will above the Honkai, which makes sense, right? Because as far as we know, let me look up the term again. But assuming this is following, but in Gnosticism, there's multiple tiers of, like, heavenly beings, right? Can I find a list of them? Gnosticism. Can I find a list of that hierarchy? I don't know, but because we know they used a lot of, like, Gnosticism and a lot of other, like, real-life mythology and history and legends and stuff in it. But it's very likely this is just a higher being, and that most beings probably just can't ever actually reach this god. I feel like Sue, his mind was clouded before the end, but then he suddenly, because of Bianca kind of opened his mind and made him realize his mistakes, and maybe that's part of what helped him reach this place. That's crazy though, that the board is literally like universes. There's glimpses into the universe in each of these pieces. Because it's messed up too, because it almost sounds like this god is gonna play with reality with Sue. Just crazy to think about. So weird. This adds so many questions though. Yeah, just a gigantic game of Go. What color piece was he beside? Is that a black or no, there's a black, so this is a white piece. So he's probably standing like right there. Tiny little Sue. How's he supposed to play this game? How's he supposed to play this game when the pieces are bigger than him? You can't do the satisfying click. God, I haven't played Go in so long. I miss Go. I have like a whole series of books on Go, and I love the board game. It takes way too much thought, and I don't have anyone really to play with, so it just kind of sits there. I actually have the board sitting on a shelf behind me with the 2 tubs of glass stones. Was a thick board too. It's like a 2-3 inch wooden board. It was a Christmas present forever ago. Love the board game. Jeez. It's just blowing my mind. And it's interesting because that means that Bianca knows more than most people. Bianca knows about Project Stigma. Bianca understands a lot more about what's going on than other people do. Yeah, as God said, the answer you seek lies on the other side of the tree. To reach that place, you must find the second key in its intact form. See, This just so happens to be ironic too. Oh god, I just noticed the frickin' go pieces. There's frickin' go pieces floating around it too. Why? That's interesting. The game had already begun. But it's interesting because Otto at this point was already trying to revive the Hirscher of the Void, right? Technically he already succeeded, and he knows he succeeded. But then to be told this, that must be why he was able to piece it together so quickly. Oof. Yeah, I'd say that too, for sure. And I mean, it worked, right? It's the only thing it could mean. Gosh, that's so crazy. And more questions than answers, but it was a good story. I liked seeing this. Again, at least Sue smartened up in the end, but Sue as he was at the beginning of this lost my respect. And it shows... I feel like a lot of people from the previous era are probably like that. A lot of them believed they had the answer and nothing else matters. Does that mean Kion is the only one that can defeat the Honkai? I don't know about that. Because remember, Sue was just guiding him to create the future, right? And Otto has kind of done that. He got Kiana to help him gain access to the imaginary tree, and he helped them grow while also changing the future. But I feel like Otto helped strengthen the two of them. But we also still haven't seen much from the second Divine Key, so we don't know what else is gonna happen. But who knows, because we don't know much about the Elysian Realm and what's going to happen next chapter. We'll find out when it comes. When is that patch anyway? Is that in like 2 weeks, or a week, or 3 weeks? I don't know. I don't know when the next patch is. We do have trailers to watch, so we can always do that. But, next week? Oh geez, and we're getting PGR next week too? I'm gonna be busy for the next 2 weeks, oh boy. Oh boy, busy time is coming. But, because... my question too is then, if we have the second key and we're looking into all this stuff, what if the Elysian Realm is a bubble universe? Like a stable bubble universe? Because every bubble universe that's been stable that we've seen through Captainverse has had an ether anchor. I haven't entered it yet. I'm gonna log into the game after this. But, if you want to post it here, if there's anyone else here who hasn't entered in the code yet, you can put it here for them. But yeah, if the Elysian Realm is almost like a bubble universe of some sort, and the 13th core is what's making it stable, imagine if they could use the second key to get support. Like, I would assume the Sims can't help. I don't think the Sims could escape without a body. But imagine if the real Aponia and the real Alicia are still in there or something like that, right? We already know Alicia broke down fate and made it so that people can have alternate futures, that the world could be more diverse. What else could she do? And who would be the Alicia of this world? If there was to be a 13th, because we've seen almost every other Hirscher, right? Who would be the 13th? Would it be Bianca? Although Bianca almost seems to be an entity completely opposite of a Hirscher. Yeah, we'll see.